friends, it's Jacqueline and Baker here, and I am so excited to be with you today. Today, we're talking about a topic that I talk about quite a bit, but I want to be very intentional with what I share with you today. Today, we're talking about using your voice because it doesn't matter how you show up in the world or where you're showing up at. Using your voice is so incredibly important. I mean, it's literally the reason why we have an entire Presenting Like a Pro course over at Scarlett. If you're like, you know what, I don't want to hear anymore, sign me up. Just head over to the scarlettway.com/present, and everything that you need to know to learn how to present like a pro is there. Before today, I want to share a little bit with you. I actually want to give you permission to do a little bit of reflection because I want you to be aware of what your public speaking progress has been. Sometimes we really beat ourselves up thinking, I can't speak well, or I don't speak like them, or you start to compare yourself to other people. And I really want you to give yourself permission just for a few moments to reflect on your public speaking progress and to set new goals. So, how about we jump all the way into that subject in this brief video today? The first thing I want us to do is I want you to remember then how important it is for you to reflect on your public speaking achievements and your challenges. You have had some achievements. If you've been someone who's recognized over the years that you used to say a lot of filler words, for example, and you don't anymore, guess what? That's an achievement. But if you know that you have a little bit more to go, and perhaps those ums, those likes, and those souls are still showing up in your life, right? Maybe a little bit more than what you want them to, that's a challenge. It is crucial that we reflect on our public speaking experiences. The little ones, maybe just in front of a couple people, maybe at our community organizations or within our workplace, and maybe even the big ones where you're presenting at all staffs and big things at your organizations or in your community. I want you to really take the time to reflect and to also celebrate your successes. There is an opportunity for us to learn from the mistakes that we've made as well. So just take a second and think about over the past 3 to 6 months, where have you used your voice? And when I say use your voice, where have you used your voice in community, where you've been talking to, verbally speaking with other people? And I want you to think about just what are some of the mistakes that you made in that process. Now, don't be shy in thinking about mistakes. My first book, called Leader by Mistake, Becoming a Leader One Mistake at a Time, is completely riddled with a lot of mistakes that I made. So I want you to use your mistakes as opportunities to learn and to grow. I want you to reflect on those things. I also remember in the same moment, or just like you're reflecting on your mistakes, I want you to reflect on your achievements. So in the past 3 to 6 months, what do you feel proud about? What is it that you've done or you've accomplished where you're like, oh, I feel so good about that. I didn't used to get on stage, or I didn't used to want to raise my hand to speak in situations in front of my colleagues, and now I do it confidently. So I also want you to reflect on your achievements. I want you to remember how important it is to reflect on your public speaking achievements, but also your challenges as well. All right. Let's talk about part two of our conversation today, and that's identifying your strengths and your areas for improvement. Okay. The first way that I want you to consider how you might identify those strengths and areas for improvement is through a small little word that starts with F, and it's called feedback. Okay. A lot of times it's hard for us to look at what we've done, to look at how we spoke, to look at what we said via video or even listening to it, and really give ourselves critical and really transparent and honest feedback. And that's the reason why we need feedback from other people. So is it possible for you to, of course, review the presentation yourself and maybe even give yourself feedback, but take it one step further and get feedback from other people? Who are some people that you trust that are in your circle that will give you honest and candid feedback? All right. Feedback on your strengths, feedback on your weaknesses, feedback on how you're paced and what it is that you're saying, and even feedback on audience engagement as well. It's important that your peers, your mentors, or even audience members are invited into your world and give you meaningful and timely feedback. Now, there are also tools that you can use. And one of those tools that you can use in order to really get that feedback is right in your hand. Many of you are watching this via your phone. So just like we pick up our phone and we look at Instagram and TikTok and all the other social platforms, and we're looking at video to be entertained, we can also use video by way of taping ourselves to get feedback. So are you using the tools around you, including your phone, including maybe even a video function that's on your computer, in order to get meaningful feedback? Feedback that you're allowing yourself to give through assessment and review, but also feedback that you're allowing other people to give you as well. Now let's talk about some goals, setting goals. You have come a long way. There was a time when perhaps you felt very shy about using your voice and you never really wanted to speak up at all. And so you've had some progress, but now it's time for some new goals. It is so important that we set goals. Now, let me be honest with you. I've been speaking for a long time. I've literally been on a stage in some shape, form, or fashion since the fourth grade. I often talk about my favorite teacher. Her name is Miss Leanna Jackson, and she encouraged me and coached me to be on stages back when I was in third and fourth grade. And I'm so grateful that that woman is still alive today, and I thank her every chance I get. And the reason why I thank her is because she really helped me to cultivate my public speaking skills early in my career. And by doing that really, really early, it took the things that I learned and it allowed me to go to another level. So I wasn't just an event planner earlier in my life. I could talk about event planning. I wasn't just an instructional designer earlier in my career. I could talk about instructional design. And now that I'm in the leadership and etiquette space, I'm not just teaching about it, I can talk about it to a lot of different audiences. So think about where you're at, whether you're in engineering or art or you're in a creative field. I don't want you to just be smart at the things that you're good at. I want you to be able to talk about them as well. And that's the reason why goal setting is so important. What are the goals that we can set on our path over the next 2, 3, 6, even 12 months that help us start to use our voice more confidently, more effectively, and more efficiently? So let me give you some examples of what maybe some goal setting opportunities could look like for you. Perhaps you know that eye contact isn't really your thing and it makes you nervous. And so it makes you not even want to raise your hand and stand up and speak or present. And so maybe that's a goal of yours that you take the opportunity to say, you know what, I want to work on my eye contact. And there are lots of tips, tools, and even storytelling I provide in the Presenting Like a Pro course that help you to use eye contact or maybe even improve your eye contact skills. What about reducing filler words? Like, so, right, but. Those are all filler words and sometimes filler phrases that riddle up our statements and they make our statements and our speeches less impactful. There are a lot of tools that we provide in Presenting Like a Pro that help you to identify what your filler words are and to also minimize them as well. But that might be a goal for you, a goal of minimizing your filler words. You also might have a goal of enhancing your storytelling techniques. Even just a short while ago, when I talked about my teacher, that was me infusing storytelling real time. There are lots of stories that you have, stories that really warm you up, stories that you're proud about, but most importantly, stories that help you get your narrative and what it is that you're saying across clearer. In order to really connect with people, storytelling will help you take whatever it is that you know to a completely different level and communicate and connect with the audience that you really want to connect with. All right. So, in addition to setting some goals, there are a lot more goals that you can set, but those are just a few to get you started. I also want you to think about some practical steps to help you achieve these goals. All right. The first is a P word. It is practice. Although I've been teaching and presenting for a long time, you know what I still do? I still practice. I am never too good to practice. And if you think about some of your favorite artists, whether it was Tina Turner, whether it is Sting, whether it's Beyonce, if it's Taylor Swift, it doesn't matter who it is, right? These people are still practicing. They are at the top of their game. They're still practicing. So I want you to give yourself permission to practice. Even if you think about sports, the greatest athletes out here, guess what? They are still practicing. Let's not be too good to practice. There also might be an opportunity for you to take a course. There are lots of presentation courses that exist. There are courses like, for example, Presenting Like a Pro that take you through an excess of 15 different modules, digestible modules, that give you exactly what you need to identify your audience, to help you deal with nervousness and anxiety, to help you identify even the clothes that you should wear during a presentation. So make sure that you give yourself permission to access the many digital and in-person tools that exist, like Presenting Like a Pro, to help you improve your speaking skills. I also want you to use tools like outline templates because a lot of us think, oh my gosh, I want to speak and I want to present. But the reality is, I don't know what I'm going to say. What am I going to say and how am I going to say it? You might want to utilize things like outlines or even pictorial graphs to help you put everything that you want to say together. Now, we talked about a lot of stuff in a very short period of time, so I want to summarize it all for you right now. I want you to think about your opportunities to allow you to connect with people a little bit more effectively and efficiently. Remember that storytelling is a tool of yours, but I want you to especially remember just these three quick things that we covered just in our short time together. I want you to remember how important it is to reflect on your public speaking achievements and challenges. You've come a long way. There was a time when you weren't using your voice at all. I want you to know that you've come a long way. So kudos to you. But I also want you to accept that none of us are perfect. So we have challenges. But by being honest about those challenges, we have the opportunity to improve our overall speaking skills and speaking confidence. I also want you to remember that you have strengths and you have areas for improvement. Some of us are really good at connecting. Some of us are really good at minimizing our filler words. And some of us are not so good at other things. So there are opportunities for us to identify our strengths and also our areas for improvement as well. I want you to know that setting goals is a great way to immediately get started. I want you to say to yourself, you know what? I can identify some goals today. They can be goals specifically for you. They don't have to be my goals. They don't have to be your colleagues' goals, your partner's goals. What are the goals that are specific to you? I want you to remember that you have some options, some big options. The option to either use your voice to get to your next level, to accomplish the things that you really want to accomplish, or the option of taking the back seat and not doing anything at all. And I certainly don't want you to take the back seat or doing anything at all. I want you to know that you have power, you have impact, you have the opportunity to potentially change the world if you open up your mouth and you use your voice in a way that is impactful, in a way that is engaging, and in a way that you feel confident about. Towards the beginning of the conversation, I mentioned a website, and it is a website that you can go to so you can learn a little bit more about presenting like a pro. I spent a lot of time developing the course Presenting Like a Pro. And that is because I know that people like you have the opportunity to go to a completely different level with a little bit of assistance. So head over to thescarlettway.com/present to snag your spot today. I'll be there with you every single step of the way because I will be your presentation guide. There are more than 15 modules, but I will hold your hand to make sure that the downloads that are there, that the video engagement opportunities, and all the resources, they land in a way that you can take advantage of them, that you can put them to use, and you can actually give yourself permission to become a stronger speaker today. So, as always, thank you for spending some time with me. It is always a pleasure. I'm looking forward to you setting some goals. And of course, I'm looking forward to you using your voice in an effective and efficient and also in an impactful way in the near future. So, I'll see you over at thescarlettway.com/present. I'll see you in Presenting Like a Pro. Take care of yourself and ciao.